Hello, everybody. Welcome into another Arsenal fan circle. Apologies if I'm a little bit late. I never seem to be able to be organized in time. But pull up a chair. Come on in. Everybody's welcome here. So, I set out a structure of what we're going to talk about today. So, pretty soon, Gundam News will be calling in, and we will be discussing in this schedule, we'll be discussing Bate and the disappointing result at midweek and reviewing that and then talking about what's going to happen on Thursday. The second part of the show will be, and I hope everybody can sharpen their pens here. Second part of the show will be going through all of the results that we've had this year in the English Premier League and summarizing what we've taken from those games in 1 to 3 words. Somehow that can be quite easy, but and then the last part of the show, we should talk about what everybody else in the world is talking about. Unai Emery and Mesut Ozil. So that's likely to spark a lot of back and forth, a lot of comments here and there. So pull up a chair. If you're watching this on playback, drop comments down there. While I'm waiting for people to come online and for Gundam News to call in, I want to give a shout out to some of the people that are near and dear to my heart, my subscribers, and the people that I put this content out for, trying to grow this channel. I started back in December 23rd, and I've got 36 subscribers right now. So I want to mention some of the names that have helped me to get to 36. So um, London Old School is a favorite of mine who has been with me from the start. London Old School, shout out to you. D Dubs just subscribed to me. I don't know if D Dubs is a reference to the Dubs in Dublin, Ireland. You may not know it, but from my accent. But I'm originally from Ireland, and I am a lily white from Kildare originally. So if that D Dubs is a reference to Dublin, Ireland, shout out to you, D Dubs. But thanks for subscribing to me in the last few hours. A few others to mention: Tonic Explosion, Jill, and Mike Wilson. So thanks so much for your subs earlier on when I was starting out. George Sands, thank you. Appreciate you. And Guaranteed in Life, Death, Taxes, and Arsenal. Thanks for your subs as well. So I wanted to give a shout out to all my subscribers while I'm waiting for people to come online and waiting for Gunda to call in. Gunda will be calling in soon. Welcome into the circle, Gunda News. I also want to speak about Gunda News in between talking about my subscribers. Gundam News will be joining me audio for the first part of the show, which will be reviewing Bate and what happened and what will happen on Thursday. He'll also then go off audio and into the comment section and sort of help me with the Premier League results this year and summarizing each game in just 1 to 3 words, which I think is fun. Is going to be fun. If anyone else is in the comment section, feel free to play along here as well, and you can get as optimistic or as pessimistic as you want. I wanted to talk to about subscribers. Shout out to Byron Williams and Humphrey Emmanuel, who helped to get me off of a number 20. He got me off of Mustafi to a 21 back then. He was my 21st subscriber. Humphrey Emmanuel, thank you. Progressive Life, Programmer HD, thank you. And Mr. Arsenal Podcast, Ryan over there, thanks for your support. And then most recently, Abanuro OA. So thank you all of you for your support. I want to give a shout out to also Luca Quarta, who's been with me from pretty early on as well, and Richard over at Arsenal TV. So please feel free to ask us any questions. Gunda, we're going to jump on for a phone call for the first section where we're going to talk about Bate. So if you're calling in, I would very much appreciate it. But I want to say I did not see the game. I was at work, and but from the highlights, the game looked like we were in very good control of the game. The pitch did not help us early on. Mkhitaryan, who I've asked for the wide players, Iwobi and Mkhitaryan, to step up this season to help us achieve our goals uh, for the remainder of this season. I've asked them to chip in with some goals. Iwobi did so last weekend against Huddersfield, and Iwobi had a pretty decent game. Yes, we always want our players to get more. We always want to get more out of our players. We need more from Iwobi, but I feel like he's taken the steps necessary this season to jump up and be a big part in this season. We need Mkhitaryan to do the same thing. Mkhitaryan had a chance against Bate to score. He did not take the chance. And when you get on a team early and you're on top with possession and chances, you need to take your chances. You know, we're gonna leave things for later in the section with Ozil and what kind of creativity he could bring to the team. You know, and is he an asset that we should use until the end of the season? But that's going to be for later on. But we got caught out through a header, so I can imagine through the state of the pitch and looking at the highlights, it looked pretty bad to keep control and keep possession. The only way we were going to get hurt was probably through a header. And that's what happened. We got caught on the sucker punch, but fair play to Bate. You got to give them credit. They got the goal that they needed. They won the tie. But let's not get excited here. So I've got Gunda News calling in now. Hi, Gunda News. How are you?
Good on yourself. How's it, Raymond? Good day to all the viewers worldwide.
Welcome into the circle. Just talking about the Bate game. So, what was your take from the Bate game in the Europa League on Thursday?
Okay, let's not lose our heads first of all. Let's not come up with any Emery-Ozil chance, because that's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Bate, Boleslav won, Arsenal no. Again, we did not take our chances. Mkhitaryan missed a few opportunities. Lacazette missed an open goal with a header.
Yeah, we need these players to. We need
once
these.
Again, no.
We need these players to be clinical, Gundit.
We just chances, to be honest with you. Otherwise, I mean, if Mickey scores...
Welcome into the circle.
Which I am still backing Mkhitaryan to succeed, you know? One of those days that we can...
Hi, London Old School. Welcome in. We're talking about Bate in this section and what happened on Thursday. You got any comments, London Old School?
So, a little bit of a quality.
Yeah. Now, I believe Mkhitaryan is a strange type of player. Mkhitaryan is unique because he brings some balance to the team. If not individually, if he's not that great individually, Mkhitaryan brings balance to the team.
Yeah, unfortunately, Raymond, we're having a little bit of a quality issue at the moment.
Okay.
It's breaking up. I can't hear what you're saying.
Mkhitaryan is bringing balance to the team on the right-hand side.
Back, guys?
Yeah, call back.
Okay, there we go.
Call back in.
Okay, just give me a few minutes, guys.
Yeah, no
I'll
problem.
Be back.
Sorry about technical difficulties there, London Old School. But, Mkhitaryan, I think, while not individually bringing anything to the team, I think he brings balance to the team. Gundit. Is that better? Mkhitaryan brings balance to the team, and Iwobi. Much better?
Yeah, much better. Do you know what? Mkhitaryan does bring bring something to the squad. I really want him to succeed. The few notes that I have basically on the game was, like I said, we haven't been taking our chances. It was pathetic performance. Game management was wrong. Setup was wrong. This includes tactics with the likes of Suarez, Aubameyang on the bench, Torreira. Not so much Aubameyang, but Suarez and Torreira on the bench, which I think was a mistake. And I think it was just embarrassing, man. And also that the players should own up and apologize. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen, and a lot of us Gooners have seen, when players going online and on the social medias and saying things like back on top and all these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But within a loss, players should own up and apologize.
I know, and
many years.
We'll get on to the sending off a little bit later, but I do know that Lacazette went on his social media and apologized to the fans. I understand that will be just a one-game ban, but obviously he's going to be missed on Thursday, which is going to force the manager's hand a little bit in changing the team up a little bit. But I looked at the team, Gundit, and I said, I want Leno in the team. I want Torreira in the team. I think we just went a little bit light in the team. Was not our strongest team that we could have put out. What do you think?
Strong enough to beat him. No disrespect to Bate Prem, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys have all been watching other Arsenal podcasts, everybody tuning in live and watching this in the follow-up after the video is done, I'm sure you've seen also in the podcast that, I mean, even the players, there was a former Arsenal player by the name of Gleb also.
Gleb, yeah.
He admitted that their fitness wasn't, before the game, their fitness levels weren't up to par, and what made it more embarrassing was the fact that Bate...
They hadn't played a game for 2 months. 2 months. This is their first competitive game in 2 months.
Haven't been playing for 2 months. I mean, this is their first game in how long?
So there's not a lot really to be said about this game. We played badly. We kept there's not a lot really to be said about this game. We played badly. We didn't win the game, and we had a player sent off through frustration.
Like I said, it was completely frustrated with not receiving any service, and we are going to bring up the Ozil in, Ozil out, Ozil versus Emery later on in the podcast.
Yeah, later on we'll talk about that.
Like I say, no Ozil. We're going to talk about what's been happening there.
Yeah.
But a lot of other players were also shocking. The likes of Guendouzi, Iwobi. I'm sure you've seen in the match, and the Gooners have seen in the match, that we were trying to play little triangles, and obviously the third balls all going out of bounds, you know?
Yeah, London Owls...
Just trying to play tiki-taka if the ball is useless.
London Old School feels this was a once-off. We had a bad night at the office, and we can turn that around on Thursday.
Yeah, let's not lose our heads. We all believe that next week Thursday at the Emirates, I hope it's going to be a thrashing to show that listen, this was just once off, and plus we really do need to score early and a few goals in order to just secure the win.
So there's not really much to talk about in terms of Lacazette. We all know he lost the head a little bit, and he should really keep his cool a little bit more, because realize we're a half-time in this tie. And, we come back to the Emirates on Thursday. So we can pretty much draw a line under what happened out in Belarus.
Minus the striker.
We're going to be minus strike. And
you know what I love?
Yeah.
What I really love about Lacazette is he's very physical. Like, he's just that figure. We love him. And to see him lose his temper like as a professional footballer is a little bit disheartening.
But I think Gunda, that speaks to how much he cares about this season, how much he wants to play well, and how much he wants the team to do well this season. That Lacazette is one of the players that actually really, really cares. And when he's been taken off against Fulham, he stopped the crowd from going ballistic too much in terms of calming people down. They, support the manager while he was being subbed off. He didn't lose it. You could see a few things happening to him when he was on after being substituted. He was taking his tape off of his socks and all that. He looked a bit pissed off, but he's applied himself in the right way. And I think we've seen more fight from Lacazette. He's definitely become more physical. What do you think on that?
Yes, obviously. That's why we love him. He's a warrior. He wants to fight.
Yeah.
He wants to make our team get back to the days of, being the biggest team around, or one of the big. We are still a very big club. It's only that it's unfortunate, with all the things, injury-wise and not signing players this window that passed, but these things will pass. We will be getting better players.
Gundit, we are a big club in name only at this point. The last 2 or 3 years have been very fallow.
Yeah.
And I saw Troops put out a tweet there. He named 13 players that could go, and I could not make a case for many of those players. So that's a lot of work that we're going to have to get through in the summertime. We are a big club in name and tradition, but our playing staff is atrocious, and we do need to turn players over this summer.
Yes, you know what? Raymond, I personally would love to see us get rid of Deadwood, like we've been talking about for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Deadwood and bringing in quality players. So our squad is, say for instance, having 24 players or 2 players in each position but of quality, or if quality, at least to get us onto the next level, or to get us to a point where we can further improve and upgrade. Till we've got a Man City squad, for example.
Yeah, I don't know if we can take 13 players and kick them out of the club this summer and bring 10 players in or 9 players in. I don't know if we can do that.
9 players out and maybe 5 or 6 in.
Yeah.
That would be more realistic.
So,
do you agree with me?
Yeah, but I think maybe 8 out and 7 or 6 in. We have to be realistic as well.
Yeah.
London Old School.
We have to.
London Old School and Gundit. Moving forward now to Thursday night. What formation should we play? I think we should play a 4-3-3.
4-3-3 wide, or are you talking about maybe a 4-3-3 also? Maybe try and make that diamond come back?
Maybe make the diamond come back, but I think Aubameyang's going to be up front by himself, obviously. Mkhitaryan and Iwobi. Mkhitaryan and Iwobi either side of him. Let's get Kolasinac out of the team on the subs bench, because I think everybody's tired of that. You bring in Monreal, play 2 at the back. I think Socrates might be back. Play the 3 players that are pretty much first teamers right now in midfield. Yeah, there's a case to play. We'll get into that later. There's a case to play a certain player who will feature and talk about later as well. These are the kind of games that he could play in.
Oh yeah, true. I would also say a 4-3-3. Maybe who's the two that's guarding our defense?
Xhaka, Torreira, and Guendouzi or Ramsey.
Xhaka and Ramsey, perfect.
Any of those, But there's a case for Ozil as well. But we'll get into that later.
Emirates.
All right.
Second leg, Emirates. I can give you a prediction right now. I'm going with a 4-0 thumping.
I think we'll win 3-0. What do you think, London Old School?
Also I'd love to hear from our subscribers as well. What's their predictions?
We have London Old School right now, and Okay, 2-0 from London Old School. That's going to be a nervous game, London.
2-0. Yeah,
I
that's going to be quite a nerve-wracking game.
I would like to get two
But we could
goals in
also
the
have
first half.
We could also have it all be comfortable, but you never know what to expect with the club that we all love and support.
All right, guys, let's move on to the next section. We think we're going to win comfortably and go through to the next round of Europa. The next section, London Old School, is I set a task for myself and Gunded News to let's go through the Premier League results that we have achieved through the start of the season. And we're going to give 1 to 3 words as a type of comment and maybe a score our performance on team performance, Gundit. And team performance, London Old School. So you start off, Gundit, with our first home league game, Arsenal versus Manchester City. 3 words and your points and your score out of 10.
Are we going through from Man City to us? Man City.
Man City, yep. Do you want me to start?
Okay, Raymond, my good friend, my brother.
Yeah.
Subscribers, I will be jumping to section.
London Old School said poor performance, 5 out of 10. What I say about that London Old School, my comments are free pass, in that it was it was like a preseason game, and I gave it performance 4 out of 10. Gundit, you with me? And we lost Gundit. So this section we're going through the Premier League results and giving our 3-word comments. So London Old School, the next one, as you know, is Chelsea away from home at Stamford Bridge. And if the second person in live chat could give a 3-word comment on the Chelsea away game, second game of the season, and rate their performance out of 10. My notes say should have won. 7 out of 10 for the team performance. And I think actually we were talking about this section about Gunded News dropping into the comments. So I think he's actually done that. So bear with us. Unlucky, played well. 6 out of 10 for London Old School. The third game of the season, Arsenal at home to West Ham. My comments were, we won 3-1 at home. First home win, first win of the season. I called it a close game. And I gave it team performance 6 out of 10. And London Old School, if you want to pick and choose, that's also fine. Hard-earned win, 7 out of 10. So I called it a close game, and you called it a hard-earned win. The next game was away to Cardiff, and we all remember that game for, my comment is Laka goal, exclamation mark. I gave a 6 out of 10 performance. All right, Gunda, you got to catch up to Cardiff away. So we all remember Peter Cech was a bit wobbly in these times versus playing out from the back. And I think just talking about that briefly, we've gotten a bit more pragmatic in that approach, and I'm kind of happy about that in that we're not playing out from the back too much. So Gundit is given 6 out of 10 for the Cardiff game as well. Now, we're going to move on to the Newcastle. The next game was Newcastle away from home. London Old School said Oba played well for Cardiff. 7 out of 10. So Newcastle away from home. I remember this one. And I remember for Ozil scores, happy. I was happy Ozil scored. So it showed he was applying himself to Emery. And I gave the team performance 7 out of 10. So I was happy Ozil got a goal away from home. If you remember, it was a left-footed strike, but pretty much placing it in the corner. But as we all remember from this game as well, we did lose a goal very, very late, which kind of annoyed me. Clean sheets were hard to come by at that point. And if you actually remember the Cardiff game before, we did lose a goal right before halftime as well. So that's like something that has been in our game, which is not good. So I'll just give London Old School, yeah, rare Ozil magic, 7 out of 10. Was a beautiful goal by Ozil as well as the setup for the goal. Gunda, you're breaking the rules. We need 3-word comments. Yellow, yellow card, Gunda. All right, next game, Arsenal versus Everton at home. We won that game 2-0. And I remember that game for a lack of goals. So that's what I said. Lack of goal. He was scoring some memorable goals then, if you take into account the Cardiff goal as well as this Everton goal. I believe he curled it into the top corner. My notes were comfortable. I would give it probably a 6 out of 10. We did have a couple of errors. Yeah, London Old School won money. 8 out of 10. I like it. That's a happy memory, London. I hope it was a nice amount that you could get a beer or two. Did you have a bet with a friend or something? An Everton friend, This is fun. So, next game we played at home, Arsenal versus Watford. It was a comfortable 2-0 home win. And my notes say road our luck. And these are just memories that I've gotten from. And I'd give it a 6 out of 10. With a bookie. Okay, cool. London Old School, I used to be able to predict Arsenal so well that I could predict correct score lines. You get 5 or 6 to 1 from the correct score line. I was back in the day when, you knew what Arsenal was going to give us. Welcome into the circle, our third person. We are playing a game of comments, 1 to 3 words of our Premier League results. This is a nice one. The next one we're talking about is the away game to Fulham, where we won 5-1. My comments on that is that team goal! Exclamation mark. I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I feel like the system really, really worked. Welbeck played really, really well within that system. We played Fulham away from home. Yes, our old ghosts came back to haunt us. We did concede a goal again just before halftime. London Old School said superb game, 9 out of 10. I give it an 8 out of 10, London Old School. Gundit said absolute madness because goals were flying in the second half. And that was just like a love fest between the fans and the players and the management. And I just feel that was one of the better, gives me a little bit of a chill down the back of my neck right now. It was one of our better performances away from home. Yes, it was Fulham, but you could see that we were getting the best out of our players at that time. So 3-1 win versus Fulham. We were kind of in a rich vein of form at this time. We were in the middle of our 22-game unbeaten run. The next game was Arsenal at home to Leicester. We won 3-1. That's when I noticed a player called Chilwell for Leicester. He could be a good left back for us in the future if we go get him. But the comments I had was Ozil sublime. This was the game, and I'm going to give it a score of 10 out of 10 because it was pure poetry in motion. Leicester, we took them apart. We had kind of a freaky goal against us, so really we should have had a clean sheet in that game as well. But Ozil equalised for us in the first half with a nice deft flick. London Old School, Ozil on fire, 8 out of 10. And then in the second half, the combinations between Ozil and Lacazette and Aubameyang, we just took them apart so quickly in the middle part of the second half. I believe the goals came around the 60th to 70th minute. So, Gunnar, going to give you a moment for your marks out of 10 for the Leicester game at home. For the people who've just come on, I had said Ozil sublime. So I think Ozil can be really, really good on his day. So, but we just need more days like this. But we'll get into the Ozil part later in the program here. Next game, we were going really, really well. Next game is away from home to Crystal Palace. We ultimately ended 2-2 draw, and this is kind of where a little bit of disappointment crept in. So my comments from that are Xhaka, good and bad, and I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 because I still feel like we scored two good goals, and if it wasn't for that one player, Xhaka, who does have that in his game, we would have gotten out of there with a win, no question. Um, Nervy game, London Old School, 6 out of 10. Yeah, the mark side given was 7 out of 10, London Old School. So disappointing, 6 out of 10 from Gundit. All right, next league game was we come home to the Emirates and we play the mighty Liverpool. And for me, this is not the comment I have, but this was a nervous game. Ultimately, we go a goal down through Bernd Leno pushing the ball out, which he couldn't get to, and unfortunately it rolled to Milner, and we all could see that Milner had hit it well and hit it crisply and scored. But here's my comments: good comeback, 8 out of 10. Nice one, London Old School. A great game to be there. London Old School said he was there. 7 out of 10. So I have good comeback and 8 out of 10. Um, my memory also is like it will be coming on and changing the game from that inside left position, and of course Lacazette's finish. At that time Liverpool were not conceding many goals, so I call it a good comeback just because we could we got the equalizer. Hey, next Gundit, I'm gonna give you a second. I think you put so disappointed in there. Next game was Wolves at home. If we all remember that 1-1 draw in the depths of December, probably, or maybe earlier November. Little bit of fight for the Wolves game, I think you're doing, Gundit. So Wolves, my comments were two words: frustrating and lucky. And I gave it a 5 out of 10. And this was a second successive draw in November, where I guess our win streak had been 7 or 8 games, and then we started to hit some draws. This was our third draw. Wolves surprised you. In what aspect did they surprise you? Because they're a really, really good outfit. We've all seen that now, and yes, they surprised us too. I took it as being a pretty clear cut to win, London Old School. But yeah, they're pretty good outfit. They're good defensively. If you look at their defensive statistics, they don't concede a lot of goals, and they have quite a lively set of players who can always get you a goal at any time. I'd like to probably nab Connor Cody, if at all possible, to be one of our centre backs in the future. Well organized, exactly. So that's a coach that's going places. He's got the team playing for him, and Wolves are having a very, very excellent first season. Uh, After we play Manchester United at the Emirates, I think we go to Wolves as one of the next games away from home. And while I say we have an easier run in the last 8 games, Wolves is going to be one of the trickier games away from home. I hope that we can have some of our defenders back at that time. Let's go to the next game. So the away game was Bournemouth down there on the seaside. We won 2-1. And my comments are Aubameyang on form. And I give it a 7 out of 10. So that was Bournemouth away from home. One of the things that kind of surprised me about us as well is, Torreira getting ahead of the ball, trying to score a goal. We got caught out for their goal, actually. the Bournemouth game. Scrappy game, 7 out of 10, London Old School. But, you know, a vital 3 points when we know what we've been like away from home traditionally in the last few seasons. I saw this as a very, very important 3 points away from home. And boy, would you ever know that it was a very, very important 3 points away from home, because subsequently we went like 6 games away from home without a win, you know. Gunda said any means necessary. Right. Let's get to probably one of the more depressing results of the season so far. We went down to St. Mary's, Southampton, away from home. And when I was looking back at these results, I'd actually forgotten that we had scored 2 goals. This game we lost 3-2. But I'd actually forgotten we'd scored 2 goals because I was just so upset with losing 3 goals through the air, you know. 3 goals we lost through the air and through Koscielny, who we'd always like hoped was a better defender than he showed on that day. And in truth, he was not fit and ready to play that game, you know. But circumstances and needs most, he needed to play that game. But for Southampton away, I put Koscielny not ready, and it was a 4 out of 10, and it was. I had only marked one other game ever in this season as lower than 4 out of 10. Now, I think there was 3 others that I had marked 4 out of 10. Very poor defending, London Old School said, 4 out of 10. So we're pretty all much agreement in the Southampton game. I'm hoping that the players remember that fixture. I'm sure they will, because whenever you have a return fixture as a professional, you're going to remember getting a beating like we did. And that should stand us in good stead when we get them back next week at home. When we have, let's remember, we talked about 3 wins out of 3, and we got the first one being Huddersfield. Seems like a lot has happened since then. We've got 2 more games that we need to get 2 maximum points from, and one of them Southampton at home at the Emirates, and the other one is Bournemouth at home at the Emirates. So moving on quickly, the next game was Arsenal versus Burnley. I'm going to remember this game for Sean Dyche being so pissed off, you know, in the press conference afterwards. But my comments were, and we had 1-3-1. My comments were Socrates and physical. So, and I'd give it a 7 out of 10. This game showed Socrates and what he can do and his physicality. You know, Burnley's a physical side. They were scrapping and scraping for points at that time of the season. I think they've picked up their form recently and to much better effect. But back then, Ashley Barnes was trying to get Torreira. He was trying to get Torreira sent off and or Xhaka. One or two. I think it might have been Xhaka on the sideline. We all remember that. Help me out with that. Was it Xhaka? And then the other thing was Xhaka took a needless yellow card in the second half. But Ashley Barnes was a thorn in our side, very much like, I can't remember other players like Joey Barton. Yeah, that type of player. So I don't know if I saw your comments, but yeah, Barnes should have gotten the red card. And there was a stamping as well in Guendouzi. You know? Well, it's all history now. Welcome into the circle, a third person. We're going through the Premier League results with comments. And the next one is Brighton away from home. We drew 1-1. Lacazette assisting Aubameyang for a nice goal. Maybe a dodgy offside possibly in the first phase. I can never understand that. Phases really bother me. First phase, second phase, it really bothers me. The new regulations and the way referees are trying to interfere with the game. And maybe that could be another section down the road in the summertime. We'll talk about phases. We'll talk about VAR, what's going to happen. Because the more and more of these referees muck with the game, the more detrimental and the more messed up the game's getting, you know. But That's what I'm gonna say. My comments from Brighton was Lichtsteiner, no. So 4 out of 10 for that Brighton game. I actually remember I had a day off. I took a day off to go and see the Arsenal on TV from work, and I wasted a day. Arsenal did not give me value for money that day. Brighton away from home. That's a game where I hope we're not looking back at the end of the season and trying to look where we needed 2 more points or 1 more point. You know, hope we're not in that at that point. I hope we can get top four without looking back at this season and saying, "Oh my God, if only we go another season into the Europa League." Let's not think that way. I'm always thinking positive. You know that, everybody. Uh, okay. Next game, as you might all know, was the worst game of the season for us. We went to Anfield and we got mauled 5-1. We went to Liverpool, we got mauled away from home. So my comments are injury slash no fight. I give that a 2 out of 10. You know, the only good thing we can say about that is Ainsley Maitland-Niles scoring a goal. And I know, London Old School, that you have advocated Ainsley Maitland-Niles playing further up the pitch and not being a right back but playing midfield or a wing back or of some sort. But that game at Anfield was the only memorable part was the first few minutes for me. It was just so depressing to lose that way. Not so much to lose 5-1, but to lose that way at Anfield was terrible. And it showed that we need characters. We need characters in this team. Hi, D Dubs. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you dropping in. If you have the opportunity, D Dubs, new subscriber. If you have an opportunity to drop in once in a while and say hello, that's great. We're going through the Premier League results now, and we got to the point where we were at Anfield versus Liverpool. And this is a game where you can see a lot of investment is needed in the team. And D-Dubs and I went back and forth a little bit, and we were, I think in the end, D-Dubs were a little bit of the same opinion. We're not so far apart as you might think, you know, but peace, I respect your opinion as well. D-Dubs needs more and more investment in the team, needs better players. I agree with you. I just happen to feel on that one point, D-Dubs, that Lacazette is a decent player. And there's much more players that are needed to be shown the door rather than Lacazette at this point. I actually feel you can make a case for Lacazette that he's played better this season than last. But anyway, peace, D-Dubs. I love that you come in. If you can stay for a while, that'd be great. We're talking about the Anfield game, what a debacle that was, and that's a great part of the show for you to drop in, D-Dubs, because we're going to agree. It was a terrible performance, and it's sickening to see the likes of Salah and Firmino having their way with us, you know. And don't fight when you're going off at halftime. Fight on the field. You know, that pissed me off. You're going to fight on the tunnel. No. You fight on the pitch. I don't, you know, it's that Anfield away from home. Were we ever going to get anything there? Maybe not. But we needed something more. We needed something better. And yes, remember, we had injuries. Hopefully we can address something that's going on with the defenders at the back in the summertime. Hopefully we can do that. We've got a lot of work to do in the summertime, D-Dubs. We do agree on that. That we need to ship, I'm going to say, 8 players. We have to think about what's realistic as well. All the work that we're going to have to do in the summertime. Can we get rid of 8 players and can we bring in 6 or 7? And let's say Reece Nelson comes back from loan. Emile Smith-Rowe comes back from loan. I believe this season for Emery, he's not showing his style that he can show this season. He's being pragmatic. He's trying to garner points everywhere and anywhere. And he's trying to get points together so we can get the top 4. Next season, if we get top 4, he's got a little bit more freedom. He's got a little bit more cash in the summertime. He can go out, go spend. Those fucking guys in the background, the administration guys, they better go to work this summertime. The minute the season ends, before the season ends, they better go out there, start getting players that they want to target, start contacting right now. I'm getting like tongue tied. I'm so frustrated. And I know D Dubs, you feel the same way just from the tone of our conversation earlier. And I want to show you I'm kind of feeling the same way. I'm a little bit more optimistic in my outlook on things. But we need to ship out 8 players. I'm sorry I'm going off on a bit of a rant, and you don't often see this from me, so maybe I'll keep it going for a little bit more. But we need to ship out many players, and we need to identify decent ones. Yeah, I'm okay with Lacazette being on the bench, brother. So, peace. Stick around. I would love for you to give us some more comments on the remainder of our fixtures since the Anfield game. So let's get back on it here. After Anfield, we went home to Fulham, 4-1. I'm doing this in 3 comments, D-Dubs. So my 3 comments is Emery, substitute, Ramsey. And I give the team 6 out of 10. That was a dodgy game. And Emery's got a lot of things wrong this season, especially what happened on Thursday and not bringing Leno into the team. We got to start strong from now on. We got to have Leno in the team. We got to pick our first choice keeper. We got to pick our first choice team. We don't have a scheduled conflict. We don't have congestion. Put Torreira in the team. But Emery's done a lot of bad things this season, especially recently. But at this point in the Fulham game, he took off Lacazette. The crowd went against him. Lacazette quelled the crowd a little bit. And Ramsey, who came on, affected the game and got us out of there with a 4-1 win. So I think it was 2-1 at the time. And Ramsey, I remember he had the cool head to slot away the last goal, or maybe the 3rd goal. But I give that a 6 out of 10 performance, London Old School. What do you think? I'm sorry there. I kind of went off on a rant because I wanted to just have that interaction with D-Dubs as well and tell him we're not so far off. 6 out of 10. Hey, okay. Next game after that, would you believe, was West Ham away from home. We lose 1-0 in a kind of a very turgid game. And my 2 words are no creativity. We did not create anything in the second half, or at least from the 60th or 70th minute onwards. 3 out of 10 for me. That was a nothing game. You're going to have them. London Old School said lost crucial points. 3 out of 10. So we agree on the team performance score. And of course, we lost crucial points. We're not going to know. Every point is crucial. But when we're going to tally everything up at the end of the season, we're not going to know how badly what performance affects us. And that can be a show for the end of the season when the last ball is kicked. What happened? What results are we regretting the most? Gundit, what do you have to say about West Ham away from home? Because after West Ham away from home, we're coming into a nice game. It's Arsenal versus Chelsea. Apart from Liverpool away could cost us 4, we should have beaten West Ham. Totally agree with you, London Old School. Do we put it down to just one of those days again? We had just one of those days on Thursday. If we have too many of those days, it becomes a pattern, and it's not just one of those days then. You know what I mean? I think you know what I'm getting at. But moving on, our backs were against the wall. We were in what I'm calling this game, Arsenal versus Chelsea at home. 2-0 win ultimately, but this was a 6-pointer. So my 3 words are Boss Shelney, 6-pointer. 8 out of 10 for a team performance. This is one of the bright points in our season. I'm looking back, I ruefully look back at the minutes watched on my YouTube channel, and for our Sunday show for the Chelsea game, that garnered a lot of minutes. So it was a real high point in our season. Um, Chelsea are shite on the news. Love it. 7 out of 10. Um, the Chelsea game was a real high point in our season so far. It was a real 6-pointer. London Old School, great game, solid. 8 out of 10. You know, I don't fucking care about what Chelsea did and how bad they were and make excuses for performances because of Chelsea doing this or doing that. You know, they need to get their house in order. That's their problem. You know, they have a new manager, new coach. We have a new manager, new coach. They're washing their laundry in public. We're not doing that too much. You know, there's a little bit of something to be said for that. Um, Class over quantity. Class over cash. I don't know. I still like the fact that Arsenal has class. I don't like the fact that we don't have cash. I don't know. Do we want to be one of those evil clubs, Chelsea? Do we sell our soul? That's a discussion for another time. I'm getting a bit too philosophical. But this is definitely a 6-pointer. If you remember back then, if we had not won the game, we would have had a big gap to Chelsea, although they're kind of imploding a little bit. I think they're going to stay relevant in the top 4 fight. But this was a great game for Koscielny to come back, especially the shoulder goal. It was almost slow motion going in there. What do you think about that, Gundit? So the next game we played, if the Saudis come in and buy Stan out, I will be a happy man. Is that a possibility? Is that in the news? London Old School. They'd have to spend a lot of money for that fucker to leave, you know? Do let me know if it's a new rumor or if it's something that we're just hoping for to happen. Amongst other things, to Stan Kroenke. I like the meteor coming out of the sky and just like punching a hole through his body as he's standing on his ranch. And then that meteor will catch fire to all of the brush on his ranch, and his whole ranch burns down. A little bit dark, right? Wow. Okay. I would not be afraid of those kind of investors to come to Arsenal. Anyway, that's enough of me wishing bad on Stan Kroenke. Raymond, give 25 million, I'll give 60 million, London gives 30. And we'll get a whole new backline. I'll have to check myself back there for any loose change. But I don't think I'm going to find it. So we're getting close to the end, and then we can get on to our third section. So Cardiff at home at the Emirates. We win 2-1 ultimately in the end. And my comments are no clean sheet. So I did this yesterday. I did these notes yesterday, so I'm kind of getting a refresher of what I was thinking yesterday. But no clean sheet versus Cardiff at home. We get right to the end of injury time, and we lose the goal. What the hell? You know what I mean? We didn't play well. Ozil played in this game. And we've talked about Ozil, you know. Everybody who's watching this on playback, you know, it's just you, me. It's just me, Gunded News, and London Old School. Thanks for coming on, London Old School. It's just the three of us. But you know what? If it was just the three of us, we would do this every week anyway. So, love that you keep coming on, London Old School. Don't get tired of us, please. Please don't get tired of us. I'm trying to think of new and inventive ways to not talk about the same old shit, but The next segment, we're going to talk about the same old shit. But this is a little bit of fun for now. Let's like casting our mind back to the season, you know? Thanks, London Old School. I appreciate you. But yeah, we're all fans. We're all fans, and we'll get that we'll get into that in the next section. I keep talking about the next section. In some ways, I don't want to go there, but in some ways, we have to. And Gunden's going to jump back on right after these next two results that we talk about. But I give that a 5 out of 10 for Cardiff. I give that a 5 out of 10 for Cardiff. And thank you, London Old School. Really appreciate you. I know I sound like an old broken record, but man, you're the best. And, you know, I love Tony Adams too. We've talked about that in the past. We need to find a new Tony Adams. We need to find some players with character. This club is going to kill me. So hard-earned win again, 6 out of 10. I think we're talking about a lot of the results, and we can talk about this going into the next segment as well. Looking at this, a lot of this is scraping by. We rode our luck. Hard-earned win with some flashes of brilliance here and there from Ozil. You know, so all of this is going to play into our discussion in the next part. You know, let's think about all that, guys. There's certain sections of this season as well where we've dug deep and we've gotten the results that we needed. So this Arsenal team really boggles my mind, because we get to a point in the season where we talked about Chelsea at home where we needed to win. We absolutely needed to get it. 6 points, and they play well. They get a result, and they get us all invested again. And then we go to the next game, which is Cardiff, and we play shit. So this team is really a Jekyll and Hyde right now. We need to get more consistency. I'm going to get to 1 hour just on these first two segments, but that's okay. Let's talk about the next game, Manchester City away at the Etihad versus Arsenal. And in my 3-word comment, I said, great 40 minutes. You know, I'm looking at Manchester City, how we played them away from home. We had a great 40 minutes. And I give the team performance 5 out of 10. Because we did wilt away in the end. But Man versus Boys, Gundam News says, I'm comparing that back to our first home game where we did play Manchester City. We were kind of clueless. We tried to do passing out from the back. It was really a horrible game, but we were all going to give Emery some slack. And I'm glad, in some ways, I'm glad that we played Manchester City at home and Chelsea away from home in the first two games of the season, because this was like an extended, good first, bad second half. London Old School said. The third person on, please give me your comments what you think of the Manchester City versus Arsenal, the recent game away from home, and also rate it out of 10, please. So I give it 5 out of 10. I compare that performance back to the first game. Like I said, we were clueless in the first game, but in the second game, if you're looking at that, London, these games are a little bit meaningless. Don't you agree? They are meaningless in a way, but we're going to measure ourselves in the progress we're making versus Liverpool away and home, versus Manchester City away and home, and versus Tottenham. We have to be real about it. Tottenham are a few points better than us right now in the league. But yeah, they're measuring sticks. And you look back at the season, and I'm going to tell you, we beat Tottenham at home. We beat Chelsea at home. We got a decent result against Liverpool at home. We got a decent result at Old Trafford. How did I skip Old Trafford? I'm going to go back to that one, guys, because I skipped a whole lot of... Yeah, I skipped at least 2 fixtures. We'll double back on that. Sorry. Getting way too excited here. Let's go to the Huddersfield game most recently. And the words that I had given was Iwobi and lucky win. You know, 6 out of 10 for that game versus Huddersfield. Iwobi, I asked Iwobi to play. Yes, we'll get to that London Old School. I missed that. I got excited somewhere in the middle. I asked Iwobi to step up. He got a goal. Yes, he could have gotten a couple more. He could have been more like a Martial, like Richard had said from Arsenal TV. Martial has that cool composure. Um, Iwobi is Raheem Sterling before he became Raheem Sterling. So we are at a crossroads. We're coming to a crossroads with Iwobi. Do we? I think we see the rest of the season with him, and we keep him for next season, and we see if he improves into that Raheem Sterling. He could improve into that Raheem Sterling. All we're asking for is a little bit of patience with him. Don't always get on him. I made a video earlier as well. Any of the new subscribers, check it out. Um, I made it new. We can't expect any kind of result from a massive game. Exactly. We're not going to get a win away from home at Anfield. You're not going to get a win away from home at the Etihad. Gandit. Correct. Absolutely correct. But performance can improve. We can see. I think we're going to talk about it in the next segment, but we don't have a style yet. Emery doesn't have a style yet, and we'll talk about that in minutes right now. But we can see the late goal again. Correct, London Old School, correct. All right, let's double back. I somehow got excited after Bournemouth away from home. Correct, London Old School. We cannot beat the top two with our current team. Next year, maybe we get beaten by 1 goal at Anfield and not 4. That's progress, right? Next year, maybe we get a draw at Manchester City away from home. Who knows? It all remains to be seen what's going to happen in summertime, which is so vital. This is the biggest summer coming up. Maybe we win. Maybe we play. You got to play the games. We don't know what's going to happen between now and the end of the season for any team. But I did a video on Alex Iwobi, and why he's possibly being picked on. So have a look at that if you have time. He's been a bit of a scapegoat because people know that we can get more out of him. People know that he has potential to get better. People can see that he could be a Raheem Sterling in the next few years. People know Iwobi can score goals. He's the one main part of this team that can improve. There's a lot of the team that we need to sell. But Iwobi, one of the players that can improve, and Lacazette has improved this season. I'm going to tell you, he has improved. And Torreira has been quite a revelation. So, there's hope. There's hope. We're having some players that we can keep in the team next season. There's definitely 5 or 6 players that are playing every week that, should be gone. We're unlucky with injuries. Unlucky with Holding. Definitely unlucky with Welbeck. Those 2 key players. And we're still 1 point off 4. So that plays into our next segment. Let's not go too deep. But let's get back to it, Gundon and Old School. Manchester United away from home. They were there for the taking. For the one time in my life that I actually felt, and this was even in the times of when we were better than Manchester United, back in the early 2000s and the late 90s. We were better than Manchester United. All those years, we had better teams. But this was the one game that I said, we're going to go to Old Trafford and we're going to win. We're going to beat Mourinho and we're going to slam it down his throat. And, we can win that game. I was confident we were going to win that game. But here's the notes from the Manchester United. Concentration lacking. And the team performance got 7 out of 10 for me. London Old School felt like getting sick because we go ahead and then we concede goals very soon afterwards. Especially that fucking Jesse Lingard prick. Excuse my language. But he's so annoying. Even... We won't even talk about the FA Cup game. But he's so annoying, Jesse Lingard. And Yeah, but in some kind of I did not plan this. Oh, London Old School did not plan this, but in some kind of weird, happy uh, way, it turned out. The last fixture that we did not talk about was probably our best fixture so far. The one that we're going to talk about in for maybe 5 minutes is the North London derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham. So it's funny I skipped those two. Those two, I have them right here. But um, Arsenal versus Tottenham, a special day to remember in North London derby. The team, I love the team's fight. You know, love the team's fight that day when Eric Dyer thought he could be a prick and come over and taunt on the sideline. And say what you like about Lichtsteiner, but I loved what he did from the sideline there and sort of flicking or pinching somebody. Started a fracas a little bit. Tottenham were definitely on top in the beginning. Actually, I remember that. We started really, really well. We got that goal. We got a penalty. Aubameyang slotted it. And then Spurs came into it. But my notes from this is Torreira, warrior, 9 out of 10. So apart from the Leicester game, this was the best team performance, I thought, anyway. Ramsey was immense when he came on. Strikers had their way with it, and I just loved the way in the end that Eric Dyer was the villain of the piece. And so, Gunda, you can call me now for the next section if you want, so we can talk about the next section, which, yeah, we kind of have to talk about. But I love the way Torreira rolled Dyer for that goal, and that's like a high point in the season. London is red. Love it. 9 out of 10, Gundit. So Gundit's kind of come off of the comment section now and called me. Here he is. So London is red, Gundit. London is red. So yeah, I what? Okay, let me throw this question out to London Old School and you. What do you think was the high point of the season so far?
I think mine would have been the
Goal. With it, any one moment in that game?
nope, the whole entire game. What all the fights?
For me, I'm just gonna Terry Warrior, Torreira the Terrier, where he scored that goal.
Exactly.
And Lacazette waiting for a pass, but it was open. Torreira, take it.
It was open like a can of beans.
Torreira goal. That I agree with you, London Old School. That was a point where it's like, yes, we're going somewhere this season. And
Exactly.
let's not lose faith. We're still there. Still there. We're half time in the Europa. But I feel like
Do you guys know, Raymond? Let me give you guys the interesting fact, everybody watching. We are, aside from Liverpool, we've only scored 3 less goals.
Yep.
And Liverpool is up there in top fighting for title.
Yeah.
We're only 3 goals.
Yeah.
We only scored 3 goals less than them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's gonna lead us into let's quickly say we've only scored 3 goals less than Liverpool. Our problem is conceding goals.
Oh my
Right?
goodness.
Now,
Like you won't believe.
London Old School and Gundit saying all of that, we're conceding goals, but we're scoring goals, but we're not creating enough chances. I think we can all agree on that as well. We're in the third part of our section now. Emery-Ozil. Is there a legitimate case for playing Ozil in some of these games?
Look, I would love to hear what London Old School and I would love to hear from what our other subscribers think about the situation. But what I could do for you is, what we could do is run down the situation and all the options that we possibly have at
Okay. So listen, I will tackle this first.
Please.
Thank you. The poison chalice. So I don't know. I'm sure London Old School saw all guns blazing as well. Shout out to Robbie over there, the king of Arsenal.
Hi,
You
Robbie.
Robbie, king of Arsenal YouTubers. He had League Honor. Shout out to League Honor and DT. Shout out to DT. He had all of them talking about Ozil, the debate for and against, and there was a poll on there which maybe all of us took, and I voted, and I saw that the results so far were 52% for Ozil to leave, Ozil out 52%, and Ozil in 47%. Now,
47, yeah.
it doesn't take a genius to work out that our fan base is divided.
Yes.
And if you're Ozil out, then you're basically Emery in.
Yes.
But if you're Ozil in, you're basically Emery out. The way things are going, right?
Yeah, but don't you think that's ridiculous?
Very
It's
ridiculous.
it's absolutely ridiculous that all of like a lot of supporters, like say 47%, are saying there's something wrong with Emery and not analyzing the situation properly.
Yeah, and this is a very difficult section to talk about. 52-48, bit like the Brexit vote, split down the middle. So yeah, that's what London Old School said. I can't argue with this. This has been featured on everybody's YouTube page, so I figured let's just do it here. Let's do it to death. For those who want to watch this, fine. And thank you, London Old School, for coming on. Here's my take. And I've gone back and forth a lot on this. Do we care if he's depreciating value? Do we
Yes,
care?
we do.
Do we care if we're losing a transfer value on Ozil? Maybe that is the angle that we are needing to take. That we're going to depreciate his value to the point where he becomes an attractive proposition for a team anywhere in the world. And I feel like that is what the club's approach is right now. What do you think on that?
Okay, here's my personal opinion, and you guys can tell me also what you think. But basically, I think that we've got two options here. He's depreciating value because three, he's trying to freeze him out.
Mhm.
Also the problem was the consistency. I will give you guys a very interesting fact that I actually picked up on. Do you know of 214 games, he's missed 100 games
Yeah.
due to
Out of
illnesses.
214 games, let's say that one more time. 214 games, he's missed 100 of those.
That is that is that is basically half. If you
Yeah.
look at 15
Basically
games,
half, yeah.
that is
And let me remind everybody the coach that we have in place right now was not in place for a majority of those games.
yes, basically also dictated to the club. I don't know if we've discussed this before, but a player should adapt to the club, not the club having to adapt to a player,
Yeah.
because then player power becomes way too great, and like we've seen, because of the old regime, he's on the wages that he's on, and so consistent. He doesn't show up to big games. When he gets played, he's inconsistent.
Yeah.
He's invisible.
Yeah.
Basically, no on the thing, on the pitch, and this frustrates players who give their all. Players like Torreira, players like Socrates, our strikers, like we saw this game versus
Exactly.
Bate.
Agree with you, London Old School.
I wouldn't want to backtrack, but he's frustrated in the lack of that. There's nobody to provide services. He wants to score goals. He wants to take our team back into the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to take us into biggest competitions, and progress past the round of 16. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah. Yeah, no, Emery does want us to progress and to get into the Champions League, so he's taken a pragmatic approach and he's looked at it. And his opinion, the coach's opinion, is that he can get more points and be more productive without playing our possibly most creative player.
Raymond, I want to pose a question to you and everybody else. Do you think, with the two options that we have available, which our first option would be to try and sell him, but then if we think about it, if there was a big club interested, don't you think they would have come off the Ozil already?
Yeah, yeah, and just to add into that, London Old School said that Emery has had problems with it. Neymar at PSG, well documented problems. PSG is a bigger operation with more red tape probably than Arsenal is. And yes, I think London Old School that Emery has been burned a little bit by egos and big players. It could be a clash of egos, just speculating. And that's all we have is speculation right now, and everybody is speculating right now. And my own belief is yes, he had a terrible time at PSG, and he got fired because of Neymar and Cavani, and to a lesser extent maybe Mbappe. He lost the dressing room, you know.
You see where player power becomes a problem, because we watch the podcast. Shout out to Mr. Geeky and Knoops and Don and the Don Lobby, and to all of them, Turkish, everybody, me, Ghana. But basically, even what they said is true. Basically, if Emery had a problem with Neymar would go to the board and the owners.
Emery is a
And
strong
basically,
character.
that's what Emery fired.
Yeah, and London Old School brings a good point, which I'm going to add to what I was going to say as well. London Old School has said that Emery is a strong character. Now, let's also think that Ozil is an outspoken character. And let's also think further that we had a previous manager in Arsene Wenger who indulged everything that Ozil wanted and indulged him in so many ways that even Aaron Ramsey said he was like teacher's pet, and he was always in the boss's office talking to him. So Ozil was indulged in every way possible. He was never, ever, ever substituted. Never, ever. Every time on 70 minutes, a player who was doing better on the field was getting substituted over Ozil, who stayed on the field past 90 minutes. And that was frustrating for us fans. And now Ozil's come to a situation where he's been indulged by this previous manager to a coach who has had a bad experience at PSG with Neymar. He's not going to let that happen. And Emery is a strong personality. He takes no nonsense. And Ozil is outspoken, and maybe he's a strong character himself. And the two of them have clashed.
Yes. But there are even these two options here. So, do we sell Ozil? And then, to that point, which big club is going to come off on the wages that he's on?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or, like you say, evaluating every day he played, evaluating basically we're losing out on revenue of what we can sell it for, right?
Yeah.
But then again, so he's not consistent. This is the big
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue. We are trying to make Ozil attractive to another team to come in and take him, and we want a club to show him a project that Ozil will be interested about doing or being involved in. The fan base just differs in First of all, the fan base differs in Emery in, Emery out, Ozil in, Ozil out. But they also differ in, can we use Ozil in the team in order to move him on? So there's a number of different philosophies going on. First of all, do we want him in? Do we want him out? But if we want him out, what's the best way to get him out? Is it by ostracizing him, or is it by playing him, having him play reasonably well for a team to come and get him?
What do you think? I personally think this is the way. Everybody is thinking, let's freeze this guy out, put him in reserves. I would shout out to Nick Gunner because he actually brought this up in the podcast that they had. He says, Emery is doing this. I would do the same thing with him.
Yeah. No, I agreed. I agreed with what Lee was saying, you know, but I'm starting to think, I'm starting to think, should he be coming into the side? Because here's the other thing: Emery is creating a problem for himself by not including him in some way. Emery is being seen as the bad guy now, and Ozil has a very, very, very. Hey, before we can also talk about social media and what Ozil and his team are doing, social media wise, in this whole thing.
Like we were discussing earlier, when I said players should own up to their mistakes and apologize for it.
Yeah.
Therefore, the don't be getting as huge. They'll be expecting the huge backlash. Apologize and not something like the media will shut up. Immediately they'll be like, oh, what?
Yeah. Who are you advocating should apologize?
No, I'm just saying. I'm talking about in general when it comes to.
In general.
I'm sure the Bergkamp comments. Also liking the Bergkamp comments. And Bergkamp was a legend.
Yeah.
But saying such things as you don't need me in our squad, or I'm not quite too sure what the exact words were.
Yeah, I mean, what Bergkamp said, his quote was something like, "You don't join a team because of the trophies or the city. You join a team because you feel at home there."
Exactly.
And when you feel at home, that's like we all know in our own workplace, if we feel comfortable there, like my boss keeps telling me I should treat it like a second home, but if you feel comfortable there, then you're going to get your best out of yourself in that environment. And he's basically saying, he's calling out Emery that way.
Yeah, I was going to say to you now, it's a dig at Emery.
Yes, of course. So, Ozil previously was saying he's in the gym, he's ready to go, he's ready to contribute to the team. This is all social media.
But the thing is, it gets made worse if you make it public at social media, like now.
Yeah, it makes it worse for Emery. And London Old School said he's going to sit out his contract.
I honestly don't know what to do anymore. I would be playing Ozil just to try and get the value up, or even if he's being consistent, at least his value up. Show him to any. Right now, I would offer him to Galatasaray or Inter Milano.
Yeah. I think we have this game on Thursday night. You could include him in this game on Thursday night. Playing for 60 minutes. This we should beat Bate. We should beat Bate on Thursday night with what we have. Guendouzi didn't play well. So put Ozil in the team.
He will be at a shocker.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see the game, but, I heard Guendouzi had a shocker.
The game.
So,
wouldn't have wanted to see the game.
Emery is losing the PR battle here. He's losing the social media battle. We've got to put Ozil in the team. if for no other reason but just to keep the supporters quiet, keep the fan base quelled, put Ozil in the team.
Fighting
There's certain games that he
without
can play.
without fighting. We're not fighting with each other over Ozil in and Ozil out. Simply because Emery doesn't agree with having Ozil in our team.
We are fighting over Ozil in, Ozil out.
Realistically, because Ozil is not consistent. If you actually think about it, how many games did Ozil actually perform? Like you said, holy schnizel. That's Ozil. That's Real Madrid.
Well, listen.
Even at Real,
Yeah, go ahead.
even at Real Madrid, same thing happened.
Yeah.
Do you think a team like Real Madrid, one of the best top three in the world,
Agree, London Old School.
I think would remove a World Cup, a world class midfielder like Ozil from this world beater of a team to have world beaters?
Yeah, and you know who it was between him and Di Maria, and they moved Ozil on.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Because of application. He couldn't apply himself in games. He didn't show it in training. To Ancelotti. Ancelotti, who is similar in profile to Emery a little bit. He wants the same things.
work harder. You have to do more in tracking back and being defense. Ozil didn't do that, and that's why he was removed.
Yeah.
And he was brought to us.
Now, London Old School said, I know what you said, London Old School, I'm just forgetting. Bate at home on Thursday is an Ozil kind of game. I completely agree with that. We're going to have lots of the ball, and he can definitely find the Aubameyang.
I need to see a hand.
Mkhitaryan and Iwobi.
I honestly want the Mkhitaryan goal, a hat-trick from Aubameyang, and maybe even I would love to see. I didn't bring it up yet, but I would love to see Denis Suarez being played from the get-go.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a case for Suarez, but I can see Ozil assisting Aubameyang, assisting Iwobi, Mkhitaryan or Suarez, and put Xhaka and Torreira behind everything with a back four.
Ozil behind Laka.
No, Laka will be out.
I mean, sorry.
Oba.
Over in front with Iwobi, Mickey on the wings.
Iwobi and Mkhitaryan or Suarez. It's an Ozil type game. If for no other, I kind of agreed with the approach that Emery's doing, and for trying to freeze him out, but it's gonna do nothing but create bad headlines, and it's gonna upset what we need to do this season. So, if for no other reason but for PR reasons, put Ozil into the 18. He can start against Bate. And then we look at Southampton and Bournemouth. But I would not play him against Spurs or Manchester United. And then we go to those 8 games in the run-in.
I would play him against Manchester United. Did he play against in NLD in the League Cup match that we won?
London Old School. Do you think that if you put Ozil back in the team, that his professional pride would kick in and he would try to be more consistent? Gondit, what do you think?
And Raymond, I would love to hear what you guys think about this. Could you picture being a boss and having one of your employees being paid, I don't know, in South African rands, I would say 100,000 rands, which is a hell of a lot of money, considering most people earn about 10,000 per month. 100,000 rands, and being a lazy, one of the most laziest, inconsistent people, always making mistakes. Could you picture keeping somebody like
No.
that around in your?
No, I mean, that would never happen in a professional setting where you're getting paid very, very well at your company, but you're not putting in the work. I, w- I wouldn't last long myself. But in this sports environment, where apparently I understand he's quite well liked in the dressing room, and believe it or not, some of the characters I'm hearing are dodgy characters anyway. Mustafi and Mkhitaryan, that they're well liked in the dressing room, and Ozil's part of that crew.
I wish Mkhitaryan was more was had a little bit more class, man. Like I want him to succeed. I'm sick of this people bringing up old news and saying they got the better of things, and even now people are saying, "Oh, Sanchez could revive his career back at Arsenal. Would you welcome
Well,
him back?"
even
I'm
even
like,
given even given how bad Mkhitaryan has been, he gives a little bit of balance to this team. I think we all agree. He's still done so much better than Alexis Sanchez has done at Manchester United.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They get. I don't know if you've noticed. This is a side point that I would love to ask London Old School also what his thoughts and get your thoughts as well. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Ozil gets? Do you guys think Ozil deserves the slating that he gets, or the threat, or the verbal abuse that he gets from fans, especially that they've been supporting the club a long time ago? Because
London,
I've noticed
so London Old
so
School.
many
Do you
people.
think Ozil deserves the crap that he gets, for being
Yeah, because
inconsistent? Personally, he says yes.
really,
London Old School says
it will be
yes.
okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. Because it will be in Mkhitaryan, if you've noticed, which I'm sure you have, they get a hell of a lot of abuse. A hell of a lot of abuse. Recently, we've been saying Sally Wolby.
I
Sally Wolby, Sally Wolby.
I had hoped that more people would come on this live chat, that we would have a more balanced and opposite side of the scale. All three of us, I think, are in broad agreement on Ozil, that we've seen his displays over the last 2 years. And I wish some of your friends would come on London Old School so we could have a balanced debate. It,
Yeah, we can
I'm
have
trying to be
more.
balanced here, but we've seen this story before. We've seen him go away from home and not being able to carry the game. The game has to come to him, and he doesn't take the game by the scruff of the neck. We've seen all this before. What makes
And
us
he's got the
what makes us think
qualities.
it's going to be any different?
He's got enough. He's got the quality even to be a world class winger. One of
And
the best in the Premier League.
we've said that he needed strikers and he needs somebody in midfield to help him. He's got that now, and it hasn't happened for him this season. It's really
You know what? I
infuriating.
would Dennis. Is Dennis Suarez more of a winger than he is a central attacking mid? So could you rather put him on for Iwobi versus in our next game?
Yeah,
What do you
sure. I
think?
mean, we can
But
listen. We are a team that we have a few good players with promise that are injured right now, and we have a few good players who are strikers, who are world class right now. My fear is that those strikers are going to get old before this team becomes good. You know what I mean?
uh,
We're missing windows here. We have a window for especially Aubameyang, and Lacazette's got a few more years. But we need to start like filling this team up right
break
away
my
with quality
it would break
through
my heart.
midfield and through defense especially.
Look, it would absolutely break all of our hearts. I'm sure you'd agree with me if we don't win a title before Aubameyang or Lacazette leave.
Yeah, exactly. If you put the players behind the Aubameyang and Lacazette, we need wingers. We need maybe another midfielder. We definitely need a left back and two centre backs. And we need a
Yeah, man.
decent backup for Bellerin, who we're missing right now.
Mm.
And, then we're in the conversation for a title. We're not winning it. We're in the conversation.
I would love for us to get back in the Champions League and next year, basically going to the summer, like you say, realistically, send out 8 players, maybe sign 6 or 5 players, a winger, 2 centre backs, backup for Bellerin, and another midfielder. That's 5 players, realistically.
Yeah.
So they need to prepare for it now already.
Listen.
They need to draw transfer list.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry for cutting you off. I'm just getting like.
No, it's fine. Yes,
First.
I'm just going on also a bit of a rant, though, you know.
No, absolutely. But we've seen this before with Pogba and Mourinho, but there's different kind of players. Yeah, and I was just going to say at London School, what worries me is Emery has come in for a 2-year contract. I don't think they're going to back him with big money. And what worries me more, London School, is that Ozil has a longer contract than the next 2 years. I think his contract is probably a year more than Emery's right now. So speak to that, Gundit. Emery's contract is shorter than Ozil's.
That's
Dangerous.
That's dangerous word. I was thinking ridiculous, and I was thinking there's a word that's missing.
So Ozil is sitting there thinking, I can wait this guy out, and the club will sack him if he doesn't get top 4, either this season or next season. And Ozil's playing a game, I think. He doesn't like this manager. There's something going on, right?
There must be something going on. Look, I really just hope they can get down to the bottom of things. Check out the table, check out the board. Maybe a multi-billionaire owner comes in, backs us with money, gives us like 100, 200, and says, like, Emery,
London Old School.
It is definitely having an effect on the team because what's uncertain.
And the question was, is this situation with Ozil having an effect on team morale?
Yes. Raymond?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
And I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon because we have been going quite a while, and I'm going to wrap it up with a few more questions.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've all been on for a while, and I know London Old School what time it is there. Is the situation? Let me put it this way: should the situation be doctored, or should the situation be manipulated by Emery playing his own PR game and putting Ozil in the team for certain games? Does Emery need to play the PR game, put Ozil in the team a bit more, so that this does not distract from what we need to do this season?
Yes. 100%, yes.
Right.
We should be doing that because
we
are needing else right now.
And if Ozil continues to not be in the team, will it have a disastrous effect on our results in the league and in Europa?
Completely disastrous, but if we lack creativity, it affects the whole team, it affects the morale of the team. What uncertainty comes doubt, with doubt comes fear, and after that everything starts falling apart, like we've seen many times in the last few years.
So I'm putting myself into a corner in this debate that Emery is painting himself into a corner here with this situation.
Yes.
And Emery, if we don't achieve our goals, and what percentages would you both put at our chances of getting into the Champions League, either by the league or Europa? Is our chances better than 50-50?
Yes.
Is our chances better than 75%?
Not better than
Would you go higher, London Old School? For both eggs in the basket, what's our chance of getting into that Champions League spot?
70%.
70%.
Yes.
and I would say 75%, because I believe we can get top four through the league. But also there
Okay,
is Europa. Now,
I like the fact that we do have two eggs in the basket. So
and London Old School is saying 50-50 chance of us getting into the Champions League. I think we have a 70% chance here. I'm optimistic. I'm going to say that.
I like when you say 75%. I like those odds.
Yes. Now, in saying all of that, there is a possibility. I'm saying 25% there's a chance we won't make it. London Old School saying as much as 50% we won't make it. If we don't make it, Emery is on a hiding to nothing. On a hiding to nothing if he doesn't play Ozil. Agree?
Yeah, I
Because
agree with you.
the minute we don't make top four through both of those avenues, everybody's going to say, well, you didn't play Ozil, and he was our main creator, the highest creativity in the English Premier League for the last 5 or 6 seasons. Why didn't you use him? So,
But that's the people overreact. When Ozil's not around and we're doing well, then we can at least say we've got a strong enough squad that we don't need Ozil. But if you're not playing Ozil, how can we see that he's not? I'm just getting tired.
press and the fans will crush him.
I just would love for us to find a club for him. So we can go to maybe Inter Milan, or I don't know what he would do. And bringing 4 players.
So,
Wages.
London Old School has said the press, the press will crush Emery, in his opinion, if we don't make those targets this year. They're gonna say we're just as good as Wenger in those last 2 years, and he's on a hiding to nothing. I'm gonna say, if he doesn't play Ozil, so I think we're forced into putting Ozil back into the project for certain games.
Of all these Ozil fanboys who are trying to convince us Ozil is outside.
Yes, and I don't know. He's got such a following through the world. There's probably Madrid fans and Germany fans who love him so much, and Arsenal fans, but it constitutes 48% of our fan base.
Imagine if you were Real Madrid, Germany, and Ozil supporter, any supporter. Fucking hell, you obviously don't want Ozil out because you love him so much. They call it degrade, but my pardon my language, but I'm just so sick of the sofa.
It's becoming very, very boring, and I don't think we're going to touch on this subject again for Arsenal fan circle until the summertime. I hope we can talk about performances where he's more consistent and he produces goals and assists. That's what I hope. I hope Emery can put him in the team. In certain games, I would not play him. He's a luxury player. We've all talked about that. I'm still flabbergasted about 48% of the fan base want him in the team and love him. I'm still flabbergasted about that. But Emery is going to get crucified if he doesn't start playing him in the team. Everybody must remember back to August when we said we were going to give this coach a chance, and we understood not everybody will be on board with what he wants to do. It just happens to be that Ozil has gone from what I called to myself earlier this weekend that Ozil's gone from top of the class to bottom of the class in terms of a school environment, you know. So he was at top of the class with Mr. Wenger, and now Mr. Emery feels like he should sit at the back with the rest of the unruly kids, or he should stand in the corner. I don't know about you two, but I used to be faced in the corner, right back there. You know, I I had to face my head right into that corner, and I feel in school terms that's what Emery is doing to Ozil. But he's got to bring him. He's got to bring him to the middle of the class. What do you think, Gundit, in summary?
He was supposed to be our main man, so I'm so disappointed. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. It unfortunately we're at a point now where it's become a public relations battle. I had brothers too, and London Old School. I did not have nuns, although I do understand they were more evil than brothers. But I used to have to hold my hand out, and I'd get like a bamboo or something like that back in the days of corporal punishment, you know.
Yeah.
But here, this is where we're at right now. I think Emery is on a hiding to nothing unless he can achieve top four without Ozil, you know. And yes, and but I think he really needs to introduce Ozil back into the team, maybe starting Thursday, because I'm still amazed by how many people love Ozil so much and feel like if he was just on the pitch, magically he would create results. He does create more assists. We have to say that when Ozil's in the team, he does create, I think, 2 more assists on average per game if he's used right. But we have to talk about that's the positive, that's the bar. But he's not good defensively, so it's a payoff, you know.
He will contributed to one of Arsenal's goals this season.
Yeah.
One for.
But I think we have, in debating this, we're not all 3 of us are not Ozil lovers. We can quite easily do without Ozil next season.
Yep.
If that's the case, that money needs to go somewhere else. For his professional pride, he needs to move on. But I've come to the realization in the last couple of days I would like to freeze him out, but Emery's going to get crucified if we don't achieve our goals, which is a certain percentage chance we will not achieve our goals. But if we don't achieve them, Emery's going to be the one to blame, not Ozil.
Raymond, how do you expect a coach to come into a team and not let him know that you're not going to have any funds to spend? Our wage bill is at nearly 7%, which is the threshold. And how do you expect the coach to come into a team and not back you with finances?
And that's another final point. London Old School, won't keep you too much longer or Gundit. That's for sure. That's a real good point, Gundit. Ozil has all of the cards on his side. He's sitting there pretty. He's doing all the right things. He's doing his PR. He's saying all the right things. Emery has come into a situation where his hands have been tied. Whether he knew about that situation or not, I feel like he did not know the situation in January. So he came in over the summer. He got some players that were identified by Sven. He's worked with them. And Torreira has been a real good find, and Guendouzi has been a real good find. Socrates has been very functional, one of our better defenders. And Leno has done quite well. The only negative has been Lichtsteiner. So Emery has worked quite well with the team. Half a team that's Arsene Wenger's and half a team that is partly his say or what he's had to work with. And he walked into a real mess. You're right, London Old School. And it's half his team, half not his team. And he's been really unfortunate with injuries. Like Rob Holding, who I liked last season, Wenger didn't give him much of a chance, Rob Holding. But Emery gave him a chance this season. One of our better players this season. Welbeck, still one of our better players this season. And they only played half a season. So we have the rest of the team that we have is shit.
I would have loved to see Rob Holding right now and
so Ozil holds all the cards. He's sitting pretty. Emery's the one up there that's going to have a crosshair on his back. He's got a target on his back if he doesn't put Ozil in the team. So Gundit, you have final say, and with that, we're gonna sign off. Gundit, final say. I feel like I've been
Okay.
speaking too much.
No. I just would love to thank you guys for all of your support, especially London Old School and all our new subscribers. Uh, I would love for you guys to continue to support us and join into our live streams and watch the videos afterwards and comment, like, subscribe and share and hit the bell for notifications as per usual.
Yeah.
And but guys, keep calm. Things will improve. I'd love to see in the summer everything drastic changes, and I still believe we are going to get into top four as we have two eggs in the basket,
Yeah.
which is Europa. I personally think we're going to get through Europa because we might just have to look back on results like the Southampton game and.
I think we're gonna make it. I'm pretty optimistic because I've always been optimistic. One last point, London Old School, before you go. And we haven't really touched on this. The style of play that people are complaining about, and maybe that's part of why Ozil is not in the team. But the style of play from Emery is a pragmatic style of play. He has not implemented his own style, I believe, yet, because he simply does not have his players that he trusts. He has not completely implemented the passing out of the back, which he likes to do, or the full press, which he likes to do. We've seen it in flashes, um, but that's another thing that Emery has had his hands tied behind his back. So this season we have not seen Emery at all, and I want to thank Gunded News for coming on. Mahir Abrams, go check him out on Facebook. Support him. Want to thank you, London Old School, my one and only viewer, along with Gunded all the time. But I will do this each and every week if it's only the three of us. It's still fun. We get to talk about it. Thanks for your support. Thanks for enjoying the show. If you have any ideas for things that you liked about the show or things that you would want to see in the show, please drop them down in the comments. Anyone watching back on playback, and please drop comments down there and things you might want to talk about, things you might want to see. If you're watching this show, tell me what you liked about the show, what you didn't like. Please like, subscribe, and share the content around. This has been a long show about Bate, what happened on Thursday, what's going to happen next Thursday. And we talked about our Premier League results so far in the comments, which got us to think about how the team's been playing through the year, and especially in relation to the new Emery-Ozil situation, that dynamic which seems to be gathering pace. And we also talked about how both sides could potentially lose out in that dynamic, and they really should be doing the best thing for the club. And my personal belief is, let's start putting Ozil in the team, see what he can do. Maybe he will become an asset that we can sell in the summertime. Maybe he can help us, and for sure, Emery will not become a scapegoat if he puts Ozil in the team and tries to get the results needed. But thank you for the second person who's just come in. If you have any questions, I will wait 1 or 2 minutes to field your questions. But this has been a great episode so far. It's been a long one. We've covered a lot of ground on Emery-Ozil in the last segment, and I feel like we may have to touch on it in between now and the end of the season, but I feel like everybody has to pull together for the sake of the club. Maybe Gundam News is watching right now because he got off the phone. Thanks for everybody's support. But yeah, we need to keep this ship tight, and we need to keep everybody united. And this Emery-Ozil thing is not uniting everybody. I mean, I go on various WhatsApp groups, and I go on YouTube, other YouTubers to drop comments as well. And you see how divisive it's either black or white these days between Emery-Ozil. So somebody's got to be the bigger person here. Somebody's got to um, start towing the line. You know, if it's the manager, you got to throw an olive branch in the direction of Ozil. If you're Ozil, you got to start playing. You got to play for this club. If you love this club, uh, thank you, London Old School. I like Lee Gunner, and Diluted as well. You know, it was a long stream, Gundit, but thanks for coming on. I feel like it wasn't something that grabbed everybody's attention, but I feel like I enjoyed the show. Hope London Old School, you enjoyed the show. It got us to think back of our overall season and looking at the results and the comments that we had on the season. We are saying that a lot of our wins and a lot of our better results were functional. Uh, Manchester United away from home has highlighted the need we need to talk about in coming episodes about we need to get the right personalities in the dressing room. And maybe we don't have that right now. And those personalities need to be Tony Adams type personalities, Martin Keown, Sol Campbell. Notice I mentioned all defenders because defenders seem to be natural leaders. And that's the type of character. We're going to have to go out in the summer and get good players, but we're going to have to get character players as well. Players who can represent the values of the club. Like I heard somebody saying that none of the players applauded the away fans when they're coming off at Huddersfield. And this is the kind of tradition that we need to continue at Arsenal. We've lost that over the years. The homegrown players have faded out. Tony Adams and the likes of that. And with the advent of social media, every player is becoming kind of an entity onto themselves. And they don't listen to captains as much. Captains are not as vocal. And we need to try and change that mentality. Because you say we like about Tottenham and we all hate Tottenham, but they have a team that is a team right now. They're all working together. They're all playing together. And, you know, we all hope they're not going to achieve any fucking thing together. But except for going to for pints afterwards in the off season. And but Tottenham have that team mentality, and they have a certain level of talent. They need to embellish that a little bit too. But you know, I've talked for way too fucking long here, and but I do appreciate both of you and anyone else watching on playback. If you're new to this channel and if you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, and share the content. We all fucking love this club too much, and every fan that we talk to, even London Old School, you've got friends. You're arguing with your friends because your friends care about the club and you care about the club. And we need to get back to those days. When I was a teenager, I was watching Rocky Road Castle. They were just doing their own thing. We didn't have social media. Things weren't done to the nth degree. We didn't talk about things forever and ever and ever like I'm doing right now. But we just saw the games, we enjoyed the games, and we didn't analyze the game so much. And, you know, I got into YouTube with Gunda because, you know, we were looking at games and we were like, fuck, we got to do some content ourselves. We went on international fan reactions on AFTV. If you watch some of those episodes at London Old School, you'll see that we were on there. We wanted an outlet to do something that we could talk about ourselves. I mean, we watch everyone else as well. I know you do too, London Old School. We watch everyone else on YouTube. We see all their opinions, and you know, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. So, but we do welcome it here in the circle. And I just wish that we would have had a few more people come on and give the Ozil side of the coin. I've been trying to entice some people who are more Ozil fans to have that greater debate, respectfully, and peace to everyone. But I'm going to sign off right now and get out of everybody's hair. I know it's been really, really late for, I keep saying it, London Old School, but big ups to you for staying with us this long. This has been a long, long show. Thank you, Gundit, for your continued support. And we're out of here. We've debated this Ozil thing. We could go on for a long, long more time, but, you know, I've got a wife right outside there, and she's going to need me to do some stuff next, like housework and shit. You know what I mean? But Okay, I'm out of here. And usually I'm usually like I'm stuttering and trying to get my thoughts together, but I just like flowed there really well. And this is um, when I'm in the flow. I was a little bit nervous starting out here today because I know the Emery-Ozil thing is such a hot topic, and as a YouTuber, you try to attract everyone, but this Emery-Ozil thing is very divisive, and I feel Emery needs to relent a little bit, put Ozil in the team. Let's see what he can do. He's had some times where he's in on against Cardiff. People are looking at Ozil versus Guendouzi, and Guendouzi's taken Ozil's spot. Uh, it's very true right now. That's the spot the Guendouzi's occupying. Ozil needs to show some professionalism, get his act together, and start playing well. Let's hope against Bate we can turn this. I believe we can all turn this around. We go into the next leg, and we go forward. We're going to play Southampton next weekend, and please join me next weekend. I'm definitely signing off right now. Peace to everybody. Peace to the two of you guys. Love you, and I will talk to you next time. All right.